Hello and welcome everybody to today's program. Thank you for tuning in today. I am Maricela. I am a librarian here at the San Francisco Public Library, and I'm so happy to welcome you all today and to welcome our presenters. Today, we will be featuring author Ambreen Tariq, who wrote the book Fatima's Great Outdoors, and National Park Ranger Fatima Colindres, who will be in conversation with our author today to talk about how special this book is to them both and how special it is that we are able to bring it to you all today. So thank you so much for being here. But first, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that the San Francisco Peninsula is the ancestral home of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. The Ramaytush Ohlone continue to live, work, and play here today. They have not ceded, lost, or forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, and we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and it is with deepest respect that we recognize their ongoing stewardship of this land. Next slide, please. Today's program is one of our many virtual offerings during Summer Stride. Summer Stride is the library's annual summer learning program for all ages, where we celebrate exploring, learning, reading for all ages and abilities this summer. Check out the chat to find out more information about the Summer Stride program. Next. And library programming would not be possible without the support of the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. They make this program and many other programs, actually all the library programs, possible, not only in summer, but year round. Thank you so much, friends, for your support. And today we welcome you to this program. Today is part of the Nature Boost series for Summer Stride. Nature Boost is a collaboration between the parks and the library, and we're so honored to work with the National Park Service, the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy, and the Presidio Trust to make Nature Boost happen every week in the summer, but also year round. We encourage you to get out and explore. And I'm so elated to be able to introduce today's author to you today. This program is also part of our BIPOC Kidlit series, and we are here to welcome Ambreen Tariq. Ambreen Tariq is the author of Fatima's Great Outdoors and the founder of Brown People Camping. You might know of her from following her on Instagram. She launched Brown People Camping in 2016 in celebration of the National Park Service's centennial. Ambreen uses storytelling to share how her life experiences as a Muslim South Asian American immigrant woman have shaped her love for the outdoors, and to reflect the role of that privilege plays in allowing us to access the outdoors in their own authentic ways. Ambreen is a non-practicing attorney, and she works for the federal government during the day, and she lives in the Washington, D.C. area. Fatima, which appears in the title of her book, is a special name to Ambreen because it is also her middle name and is the name of our presenter, our next presenter, our National Park Ranger, Fatima Colindres. Fatima Colindres says that her love for the outdoors started in high school and she believes that everyone should be able to connect to their parks. You may have seen Ranger Fatima and might have not even known it, because she will often be in character as Juana Briones during national park programs, during which she allows visitors the opportunities to meet Juana Briones, an early pioneering curandera founding mother of San Francisco who lived in the 1800s. I'm so very happy to be able to introduce you to them today and have them here to present today's reading, which is very special because Fatima's Great Outdoors is published in English, but Fatima Colindres and Ambreen have both recorded today's story for you all, and it's bilingual. It's going to be read in Spanish and in English. But before we get to today's book, I invite Ambreen to come on screen to let us know a little bit about this story and why it's so important to read it. Ambreen, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am really excited to be here, and thank you for that super warm welcome.
So tell us, Ambreen, why did you write Fatima's Great Outdoors?
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this because, as you mentioned, I do a lot of work around promoting the outdoors and advocating for it and advocating really for everybody to be able to get out there and enjoy it in their own authentic way, which involves talking about why it's hard for some people to not get out there, why it's hard to overcome some of those fears and anxieties about what it means to be in remote places. But so I wrote the book because for me, when this book, as we're about to read it to you, it's fun to remember that this is actually my life. Fatima is me and I am Fatima. But I didn't want to name the character my first name because I want other kids to be able to identify with this character. And Fatima is a name that exists in so many different cultures and is special to so many people, as we're going to see today. But really, the book is very special to me, and I wrote it because I wanted to talk about how people of all walks of life can find their joy in the outdoors, can do it their way. And as you'll see in this book, my family, which at the time we were struggling immigrants, my parents were working 2 jobs each, and my sister and I were having a lot of difficulty transitioning into American school. We still found our joy out there. We made our food, we, sang our songs, and however you want to enjoy it, you can, and you'll find joy and empowerment in the outdoors. And it's a very special place, not just for individuals, but for families. So I really hope you like it.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I know our National Park Ranger, Fatima Colindres, will have a wonderful um, opportunity to also share a little bit about the shared experience that you both have about name and also the topic. So I'm so excited that she will be coming on right after the reading. But let's get started with the reading today.
So I am extremely excited to be reading my book for you today, Fatima's Great Outdoors by Ambreen Tariq and illustrated by Stevie Lewis. Fatima and her appa stood at the curb and waited for their parents to pick them up from school. Today, they weren't going straight home. Today, the Kazi family was going camping for the first time. Camping, her father had told them over dinner in his teaching voice, was a great American pastime.
Fátima estaba esperando a su papá afuera de la escuela. Este día no se iban a ir directo a la casa. Este día la familia casi iba a ir a acampar por primera vez. Acampar. El papá le había dicho a Fátima que es una costumbre de los americanos, una costumbre muy importante.
The trip felt like Fatima's reward after a long, hard week. On Monday, some kids wrinkled their noses at her lunch. On Tuesday, someone in class laughed and told her it's pronounced fractions, not fractions. On Wednesday, a boy pulled on her long braid in the hallway. And on Thursday, she didn't do so well on her math quiz.
Este viaje iba a ser un gran premio para Fátima porque había tenido una semana tan pesada. El lunes, un niño le había hecho así con la nariz medio, uy, ¿qué es lo que estás comiendo? Uy. Y el martes, alguien en su clase le había hecho burla por decir la palabra fracción. Le dijo, así no se pronuncia fracción, no fracción. Y el miércoles un niño le jaló su trenza mientras ella iba caminando en el pasillo. Y el jueves, pues no le fue muy bien en su examen de matemática. Estaba algo triste.
Fatima smiled when her parents pulled up. The sisters piled into the car, squeezing in between pillows, blankets, and a big cardboard box filled with cooking supplies. Wow, this is a lot of stuff, Fatima yelled. Are we moving to the forest?
Fátima sonrió cuando sus padres llegaron a recogerlos. Su hermana se metió al carro y pues se metieron entre medio de todas las almohadas y las cobijas y habían unas cajas de cartón bien grandes llenas de todo lo que iban a necesitar para cocinar. ¡Uy, Dios mío! Dijo Fátima. ¡Qué montón de cosas! ¿Es que nos vamos a ir a mover al bosque?
Mama asked the girls in Urdu if they were excited as she reached back to hand them warm homemade samosas. The girls nodded vigorously with jack-o'-lantern smiles. Mama's samosas always tasted extra delicious on road trips. How about some Ghani? Papa asked. Muhammad Rafi's voice rose over the car speakers and Bollywood songs spilled out from the windows. Fatima's cares melted away as they all sang along in Hindi.
Mamá le preguntó a las niñas en Urdu si querían comer samosas. Las niñas dijeron, claro que sí, con unas grandes sonrisas. Mamá les dio samosas, era lo más rico, más sabroso para un viaje de automóvil. ¿Y alguien quiere gane? Preguntó papá. La voz de Mohamed Rafi creció en el speaker del carro, el sonido de la música de Bollywood se oía en todo el carro y toda la familia empezó a cantar sus favoritas canciones en hindi.
Appa shouted over the music and announced to the whole car how well she had done on her math homework. Appa's teacher even asked her to come to the front of the class and solve a hard problem on the board that most of the other kids had gotten wrong. Shabash, Papa said with pride.
Appa gritó sobre toda la música y sobre todas las voces del carro que había tenido una matemática o una tarea de matemática fabulosa, había agarrado un buen grado. Apá le dijo cómo la profesora le había llamado a ella para subir enfrente de la clase y hacer una de las materias más difíciles en la clase de matemática. Y pues su papá dijo, Shabash, estaba tan orgulloso de ella.
Appa went on and on about school. Fatima slumped in her seat and ate another samosa.
Apá siguió platicando sobre todo lo bueno que le había pasado en la escuela. Y Fátima, bueno, ella mejor se fue para abajo en su asiento porque no quería que nadie la volteara a ver y mejor se comió otra samosa.
As Fatima thought about how to change the topic, her big sister pointed out the window and shouted, "Look, we're here!" The family cheered as they passed the sign for the state park.
Mientras Fátima estaba pensando, ay, ¿cómo cambio la plática? La hermana vio por medio de la ventana y dijo, miren, ya llegamos. Y la familia se puso tan feliz que habían llegado y vieron el rótulo que decía que habían llegado al parque estatal.
At the campsite, the girls helped their parents unload. First, Papa said, we must build our tent. Appa and Mama chose to start dinner instead. Fatima watched as Papa took the tent gear out of a sack.
Cuando llegaron al sitio de campamento, las niñas le ayudaron a los papás a sacar todo del carro. Lo primero que tenemos que hacer, dijo el papá, es que tenemos que construir nuestra tienda de campaña. Papá y mamá decidieron mejor empezar la cena. Fátima se quedó viendo cómo su papá estaba sacando todo lo que iban a necesitar del saco para construir la tienda de campaña.
Papa grumbled in Urdu when the pieces wouldn't fit. Fatima wanted to help, but could she? She hadn't done anything right at school that week. What would make the campground any different?
Papá se puso un poco desilusionado, sacando todo el equipo de tienda de campaña y se puso a decir cosas en Urdu sobre cómo es que se hace esta cosa. Fátima se le quedó viendo y se puso a pensar, ¿será que le puedo ayudar? Pero ¿cómo? Si todo me salió mal en la escuela, ¿cómo va a ser esto diferente?
Fatima took a tiny step closer. She suggested to Papa that they read the instruction manual together.
Fátima se acercó un poquito más cerca y le dijo a su papá, ¿por qué no leemos las instrucciones en el manual?
When they finished, Fatima stood proudly next to their brand new home in the forest. Shabash! Papa's bear paw clapped her shoulder.
Cuando terminaron, Fátima se paró muy orgullosa a la par de su papá porque habían construido su casa en el bosque. ¡Shabash!, dijo su padre cuando le puso su brazo alrededor y la admiró lo que habían hecho juntos, su tienda de campaña.
The Kazi family celebrated the start of their first camping trip over a delicious dinner of shami kebab and rotis that Mama had brought from home.
La familia casi celebraron su comienzo de acampar comiendo y compartiendo una cena deliciosa de shami kebab y rostis que mamá había traído de casa.
After dinner, Fatima and Appa crawled into the family tent. They were so excited to snooze in their new sleeping bags. They never had rooms of their own, not even in India, so being together in one big tent felt cozy and right. The girls zipped up their sleeping bags and chattered on as their parents finished cleaning up. Appa was telling Fatima about how she won her class spelling bee when suddenly her face dropped. She gasped and pointed to the tent ceiling. 8 long, giant legs gripped the outside of their tent.
Después de la cena, Fátima y Apá se metieron a su tienda de campaña. Allí estaban bien felices porque se estaban metiendo en sus bolsas para dormir. Estaban nuevitas y las estaban estrenando. Ellas nunca habían tenido su propio dormitorio, ni tampoco cuando estaban en India. Bueno, estaban allí bien felices platicando cuando de repente Apá le iba a contar cómo había ella ganado el examen de deletrear en la escuela, cuando de repente a Fátima se le cae la boca y dice, ¿qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Cuando vio 8 patas largas, gigantes, agarrándose de su tienda de campaña. ¡Uy!
A monster, the girls screamed and huddled together. They cried out for Mama. She was fearless and would know what to do. When they lived in India, Mama could catch the lizards and throw them out without flinching. That's why she had that funny finger, Appa said. She had been getting rid of a scorpion from her house when it stung her.
¡Un monstruo! ¡Un monstruo!, gritaron las niñas, abrazándose una a la otra. Mamá, vas a ver lo que podemos hacer porque ella es muy inteligente y ella no tiene miedo a nada. Cuando vivíamos en India, ella cachaba las lagartijas y las tiraba para afuera como si nada. Mamá es muy inteligente y pues ella tiene su dedito así parado porque una vez cachó un escorpión, y lo tiró para afuera de la casa.
The monster moved across the roof and the girls screamed again. What's going on? Mama shouted over the sound of dishes being washed. The Kazis didn't use paper plates because they were too expensive. Mama, don't open the tent, Appa yelled. There's a giant poisonous spider monster outside.
El monstruo se movió sobre la tienda de campaña, sobre el techo de la tienda de campaña, cuando las niñas gritaron de nuevo, ¡ay! Y mamá dijo, ¿qué es lo que pasa ahí? ¿Qué les pasa? Mientras ella estaba lavando los trastes. Las niñas casi, ellos no usaban, o la familia casi no usaba platos de papel como otra gente porque estaban muy caros. Y mamá, ¿verdad? Le estaba lavando los trastes cuando a papá le dice, mamá, mamá, no vayas a abrir la tienda de campaña. Hay un monstruo, una gran araña, ponzoñosa y gigante.
Don't be silly, it's tiny, Mama replied impatiently. Go brush your teeth before bed. Mama held the tent door flaps, and on the count of 3, the girls ran out. They followed the same precautions coming back inside. 1, 2, 3. They zoomed into their sleeping bags in a single fluid motion.
Ay, ya, dejen de cosas, dijo mamá. Vengan a lavarse los dientes mejor antes de que se vayan a dormir. Mamá les detuvo la puerta de la tienda de campaña abierta para que salieran. 1, 2, 3. Las niñas salieron voladas de adentro de allí y pues hicieron lo mismo cuando regresaron. 1, 2, 3 y ¡fum! Se metieron a su tienda de campaña y a sus bolsas de dormir de un solo fluido.
That night, Fatima had a hard time falling asleep. Crickets chirped and wind blew against their tent. She flinched every time a twig snapped. But soon, as the trees swayed outside, Fatima's eyes got heavy and she drifted into a warm, deep sleep that only campers enjoy. Soft snores drifted outside the Qazi's tent and joined the sounds of the forest.
Esa noche, Fátima estuvo con una dificultad para poder dormirse. Ay, le costó mucho porque podía escuchar el sonido de la noche. Afuera se oía el viento que zumbaba y aparte de eso, se oían también los grillos que estaban haciendo su cantar. Luego escuchó que alguien se paró en un palo y lo quebró. Pero pronto empezó a escuchar el sonido de las hojas de los árboles, cómo se movían con el viento. Y ahí es cuando Fátima empezó a sentir que sus ojos se le empezaron a sentir más y más pesados. Y pronto, muy pronto, estaba dormidita, disfrutando de ese sueño que solamente la gente que ha acampado sabe cómo se siente. Pues pronto toda la familia se había dormido y la tienda de campaña de la familia Casi se oían los sonidos de sus susurros y afuera se oía el bosque.
The next morning, Fatima woke up to the smell of anda and roti cooking in ghee. Papa was waiting for her to make the bacon over a roaring fire. He had promised Fatima they could have bacon for breakfast, just like the other American families. They had even made a special trip to the halal butcher shop for the beef kind. Bahir aa jao, Papa called for them to come outside. The sisters crept out slowly.
La próxima mañana, Fátima despertó al aroma de anda y roti cocinándose. Oh, eso estaba sabroso. Papá estaba esperando afuera con el tocino y estaba cocinándolo sobre la gran fogata. Él le había prometido a Fátima que iban a tener un desayuno así como las familias americanas, de la misma manera. Hasta había ido a la tienda especial, a la halal, donde vendían carne especial del tipo de res, no de puerco. ¡Bajerayao! Papá dijo cuando todos salieron afuera. Las niñas salieron de su tienda de campaña despacito.
Mama pointed at the top of the tent between chuckles. Go look at your big monster, she said. A harmless little daddy longlegs sat quietly between beads of morning dew. It had been guarding them from mosquitoes all night. The girls laughed and laughed. Mama and Papa laughed too. Fatima was pretty sure the spider joined in as well.
Mamá les enseñó arriba de su tienda de campaña, riéndose. Les dijo, miren nada más, miren su gran monstruo. Es solamente una arañita de patas largas que las ha estado cuidando toda la noche. Hasta miren, tiene una gotita de sereno en su patita. Las niñas empezaron a reír igual que mamá y papá. Fátima estaba segura que probablemente la araña también se rió.
Let's start the campfire so we can make the smoky bacon you've been so excited about, Fatima, Papa said. 20 minutes later, there still was no campfire. Papa grumbled under his breath in Urdu. The fire wouldn't catch.
Hay que empezar la gran fogata para cocinar nuestro tocino. Especialmente porque tú has estado tan emocionada con esto, Fátima, dijo papá. 20 minutos después, todavía no había fogata. Papá estaba medio frustrado diciendo cosas en urdu debajo de su, así, calladitamente. Ay, no, este fuego no quiere empezar.
Fatima looked around at the other families' campsites, and they all had roaring fires. Why couldn't theirs look like that? Why did Fatima's family always have to be so different? She pouted and kicked rocks.
Ay, Fátima se puso a ver a las familias de los otros campamentos y pues ellos tenían unas grandes fogatas. ¿Por qué es que la fogata de ellos no podía ser igual? ¿Por qué es que la familia de Fátima tenía que ser siempre tan diferente a los demás? Ay, no. Se quedó allí media triste y le dio una patadita así a una piedra que estaba a la par.
Papa kept spraying lighter fluid on the logs. The fire would scream for a second, and then it would be gone. Mama came over to see what all the fuss was about. She shook her head and clicked her teeth in disapproval, the way Fatima's aunties did.
El papá de Fátima empezó a echarle líquido para hacer fuego a la leña. Pero la leña agarraba un poquito de fuego y de repente, nada, se iba otra vez. Pues mamá vino a ver qué es lo que estaba pasando, que era tanta la frustración. Cuando se acercó, ella le hizo así con los dientes, ay no, como las tías de Fátima le hacían cuando estaban diciendo, no, esto no está bien.
That's not how you start a fire. Let me show you, she said. A fire, like strength, takes patience to build. She made the girls gather twigs and dry leaves for kindling, then bigger sticks for tinder.
Así no es como se comienza un fuego, dijo ella. Háganse para allá, dejen enseñarles. Un fuego necesita fuerza y necesita paciencia para construir. Le dijo a las niñas que fueran a recoger palitos pequeños y hojas secas para empezar el fuego. Y luego también les pidió que buscaran palitos más gruesos para cuando el fuego ya empezara, pudiera darle más fuerza a la llama.
Unlike Papa, who grew up in big cities in India, Mama came from a small town where they had to use a wood burning stove outside to make chai when they ran out of gas for the inside stove. Fatima remembered visiting her Nani's house and helping one morning. Mama showed Fatima how to use a long metal pipe to breathe oxygen into the fire. That's how it comes alive, she had said.
A diferencia con papá, la mamá de las niñas no creció en las ciudades grandes. La mamá creció en un pueblito pequeño donde tenían que usar una estufa de madera o de leña que estaba fuera de la casa. Cada vez que tenían que hacer chai, cuando se les terminaba el gas adentro de la casa. Fátima se recordaba cuando fue a visitar a su nani y le ayudó una mañana a hacer la fogata. Mamá le enseñó a Fátima cómo usar una pipa de metal para darle oxígeno al fuego. Y así es como el fuego agarra vida le dijo a ella.
Fatima remembered that when it was her turn, she had blown a giant puff of air into the fire, but no one had told her not to inhale right after. She got a mouthful of smoke and started coughing. Her cousins had howled with laughter at the city girl. Well, now you know, Mama had said, rubbing Fatima's back as she coughed. Fatima smiled at the memory and watched wide-eyed as Mama blew life into the campfire. Though Fatima hadn't built the fire herself, now she knew how.
Fátima se recordó cómo ella había tenido un turno en darle vida al fuego usando la pipa esa vez que le enseñaron cómo empezar un fuego. Y se acordó cómo nadie le dijo que cuando le da un poquito de aire al fuego no tenía que respirar el humo del fuego en regreso, y pues ella le echó el aire y luego respiró profundo y se le llenaron los pulmones de humo y empezó a toser, y su mamá le dio en la espalda para que no se ahogara de tanto humo. Pero ahora estaba viendo con una sonrisa, recordándose eso, viendo a su mamá darle vida al fuego, echándole un poquito de viento mientras crecía la fogata. Fátima no hizo la fogata ella misma, pero le dio mucho, mucho placer ver cómo la mamá lo hacía, y ahora ella lo iba a poder volver a hacer en un futuro.
As the Kazi family packed up, Fatima's heart felt heavy. I'm so sad, she told Appa. I don't want to go home. Home meant no laughing around the campfire or telling funny stories from India.
Mientras la familia empezó a empacar, Fátima se sintió algo triste. Ahora que la familia casi estaba terminando su empacación, ella se puso a pensar, ay, estoy triste, le dijo a su hermana. No vamos a poder hacer lo que hemos estado haciendo aquí acampando. Cuando lleguemos a casa, no va a ser lo mismo. No vamos a poder contar cuentos alrededor de una fogata y reírnos de las historias de India.
Home meant no long road trips with fresh samosas and Bollywood sing-alongs in the car. Home meant taking tests, doing homework, getting in trouble, and being teased at school. Home meant Mama and Papa would be tired again from working long hours and 2 jobs each.
Ay, regresar a casa significaba que ya no iban a poder andar en su carro viajando por el bosque, respirando aire fresco, comiendo samosas, escuchando música de Bollywood. Ay, no, regresar a casa significaba tomar exámenes, hacer tarea y pues luego estar en problemas cuando no le salen buenos los grados. Y no, regresar a la escuela donde le hacen burla a uno. Ay, no, regresar a casa también significaba que mamá y papá iban a estar cansados después de regresar de trabajar largas horas en 2 trabajos cada uno de ellos. Ay, no, ir a casa no se oye muy bueno.
Fatima looked at the tall trees and big blue sky and the imprints in the dirt where the tent used to stand. Being outdoors reminded her of how she used to feel in India. She had fun, she didn't feel sad or scared, and she loved how adventure was around every corner. At the campground, Fatima felt like a superhero. But now she had to leave it all behind.
Fátima se quedó viendo a los árboles gigantes, al cielo azul, bello y grande. Ay, no, y se quedó viendo donde había estado su tienda de campaña, que ya solo quedaban las huellas. Ay, Fátima se había sentido tan libre aquí acampando al aire libre. Se sentía como cuando vivía en India. Se sentía tan feliz. No se sentía con miedo. Ay, no, Fátima le encanta la aventura. Y aquí en el bosque acampando, Fátima se sentía como una héroe. Ay, pero ahora lo tenía que dejar todo y regresar a casa.
Appa rubbed Fatima's back and said, "Don't worry, we'll be back soon. Remember, you can share all this at show and tell."
Apá le sobó la espalda a Fátima y le dijo, no te preocupes, vamos a regresar pronto de nuevo. Y recuerda, ahora que regresemos a escuela, tú le puedes contar a todos los alumnos lo que aprendiste en esta aventura.
Fatima returned to school with stories of her great outdoors. "Guess what?" she asked her classmates. "I'm a superhero. I have lots of superpowers. I can build fires and tents, and I'm not afraid of spider monsters." Fatima beamed as she thought about the Kasi family's next camping adventure would hold.
Cuando Fátima regresó a la escuela, les contó a todos los compañeros de clase que hubo sus aventuras afuera al aire libre. ¿Adivinen qué? Les dijo a todos. Yo soy una superhéroe. Yo soy una superhéroe con poderes, superpoderes. Ay, sí. Yo puedo hacer fogatas y puedo construir una tienda de campaña y no le tengo miedo a monstruos grandísimos. Fátima se sintió tan orgullosa de recordar y saber que la familia casi iba a volver a acampar y iba a ir a una nueva aventura.
The end.
Y final.
Thank you, Ambreen and Fatima. And I am so, wow, that was such a wonderful reading and such a beautiful story about getting outdoors. And maybe it's like a new experience and you might not, it's not something that your family has done in the past, but they learned together how to do it. And I'm just so happy to have you both here, Ranger Fatima Colindres and Ambreen Tariq. Fatima Colindres is a National Park Service ranger who has really invited so many of our community members to come out and explore their parks. And Ambreen, I feel like your book is like an invitation to the community to also go out and explore. And I wanted to just give you both an opportunity to talk a little bit about that shared experience that you have, the connection over this book, and also the beautiful connection that you have with your name, because I mean, Ambreen, you shared that Fatima is actually your middle name. And Fatima, your first name is Fatima. And in the audience chat, we actually got a few people saying, my name is Fatima too. So I would love for you both to share a little bit about that connection, that shared name, and also your shared experience, because you're both from different cultural backgrounds and yet have a lot of similarities. And I feel like you two are perfect people to talk about how you both have a love for this same outdoor experience. So I'm going to let you guys talk. And while you do that, we invite the audience to ask any questions and drop them in the chat. And we will get them to Fatima and Ambreen.
Thank you again so much for having us. And as I said in the beginning, Fatima is my middle name, and it was very intentional for me to choose that name to be the character's name. And for reasons I'll explain in a little bit, but it's very special for me to be here today with Fatima and with all of you. This is my first book reading event that involves another language, and that's extremely not only important to me, but I'm just so grateful for it. And this is exactly what I had imagined more than 2 years ago when I first started writing this book, is the ability to talk to kids from other cultures and other languages, because there is such a universality when it comes to struggle. There's such a universality in the immigrant experience, and as well as the adventure of being outdoors, of putting yourself out there, finding joy, of facing fears, and then finding empowerment in the outdoors. And so this event is very special to me because both of us Fatimas are from such different parts of the world. We are thousands of miles apart, me born in India, and I'm sure Fatima can share where she was born, but it certainly was not in the same hemisphere and certainly not in the same mother tongue. But we find a love for the outdoors and we appreciate each other. And just simply knowing that she's an immigrant and I had an immigrant experience, there is nothing left to say. And I can understand so much of what she's gone through. And Fatima's character in the book is a little bit about that. It was really important to me that the story started with Fatima struggling in school. It didn't just start at them at the campground loving being outdoors. I really wanted to show what happened to my family on a daily basis when we moved here and why being able to have that reprieve in the outdoors, why being able to take a moment, the privilege of being able to take a single day off of the hustle, of my parents working 2 jobs, and I'm sure this is a story for so many families, just the privilege of simply being able to take time out and spend time together as a family, letting the kids just be kids and letting the parents just be human beings, enjoying a cup of tea in the woods. And showing Fatima's struggle, not just that she was teased for all these different things, like her accent, the clothes she wore, the way she wore her hair, because I would always have, my mom would tie my hair back with coconut oil in a long braid, which now is cool, and now I do it again. But also, there was struggle at home for her. It's not just that it was happening at school. For Fatima's sister, Appa, which is the word that we used to call big sister, it's not that Appa is showing off. That just comes naturally to her to do well in school. As you see, it was also really important for me to show that Appa and Fatima had a great relationship. And Appa was such a great emotional support for her. But for Fatima, doing well in school didn't come so easy. And so she was struggling with the feelings of disappointing her parents, not doing well socially, not doing well academically, and just being run down. And so the story of her saying, I couldn't do it so well in school, what makes the campground any different? And that is the moment that, the character overcomes not the physical act of what she's doing, but confidence. And the outdoors builds a sense of confidence in you that is impossible to find anywhere else, because it's from your own hands. It's regardless of your ability, it's the thought that goes into being creative to overcome physical obstacles. So it's a very, very special story for me. And to be able to name her Fatima, which is my middle name and is a maternal name in my family. It's been passed down from my grandmother to my mother to my niece. And as immigrants, we don't often get to have special family heirlooms because we come with bags in our hands. And so the name is very, very special to me because it's the one thing that I have that's been passed down in my family. So thank you again for having me here. And I'll turn it over to my sister, Fatima.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, no, when I was reading this book, it really touched my heart, one, because it has my name and I just really felt so connected to it. And as a park ranger here in the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, one of my missions has been to welcome new audiences to their national parks, people like myself, people like Ambreen, that we come from other parts of the world. We feel like we don't belong. And I want people to know that they belong here in their national parks. And why do I have this mission in my life? It's because, the first time I was introduced to the outdoors, it was such a scary place for me. I come from El Salvador. I'm originally from El Salvador, and I came to the United States when I was 6 years old. And it was during the Civil War of El Salvador. So even though I came from a small town, a rural town with cows and horses and, nature all around, I was scared of being outdoors. I was taught, that being outdoors was a scary place, an unsafe place because of the war and because of evil spirits. And so I grew up with folk tales about, evil spirits in the woods, evil spirits in the water that would get me. And so the first time I was introduced to camping, a camping experience, was when I was in middle school, and it transformed my life. At first I felt so scared because the place that we went camping was right next to a creek. The place was called Caritas Creek. And when my fellow students and I saw this place, we were a little nervous because all of us were from either El Salvador, like myself, or from Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras. We were all basically newcomers. And when we saw that creek, I think every single one of us thought of La Ciguanaba, or La Llorona, as she's known in Mexico, this evil spirit that lurks in water areas that, if kids wander too close to the water, she'll take you. So I was terrified. And when the educators that night decided to take us on a solo night hike, they thought that would be the most wonderful experience for brand new campers to live, not for us. No. That was one of the most traumatizing moments of my life. And not just for me, but also for my other classmates, I found out later on, because they lined us up, shortest to tallest. Of course, I was second in line because I was very short, and I still am. But the first person in line was my friend Rosminda, and she was waiting for her turn. And when our teacher said, "Okay, Rosminda, it's your turn to go," Rosminda went, all right. She went down. She fainted, and I went down with her because I was so terrified that La Ciguanaba was taking her. And so, oh my gosh, to change the story, to save this story, and how Fatima became a ranger and why I want to bring people outdoors, is that what the educators did that night was, instead of taking us on a solo night hike, they realized that that was not the thing to do with kids like us. They took us around the campfire. And so just like in the book, the best things happened to us around that campfire. We got to sing silly songs. We got to hear silly stories about plants and animals. And it just saved my whole experience. And I wanted to grow up one day to become one of those educators and bring people outdoors so that they could get rid of those fears, whether it's La Ciguanaba, La Llorona, or whether it's a scary, long 8-legged creature, little spider, right? Or snakes, whatever it is that you're scared of, to help those people like me to feel comfortable outdoors. So when I was reading this book, I really felt connected. I felt connected with the dad too, because I didn't know how to start a fire. I had no idea. And so when he's throwing all that lighter fluid into the flames, I'm like, yep, that's what I did when I went to El Salvador for the very first time. And I tried to start a fire at my tia's house, at my auntie's house. And, I had seen that she had put some lighter fluid on those logs, but I didn't know that you needed kindling, that you needed, dry leaves. I didn't know any of that. And so I, just like Fatima's dad, I was squirting all of the lighter fluid on the biggest logs that I could find, and thinking that that was how I was going to make my fire. So I connected so much in the story with the experience. And then, of course, our name, right? Our name. And so I'm not Muslim. I'm actually Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And my name was chosen for me by my mother because of our Catholic background. So even though we're two different religions from two different parts of the world, look at this. The outdoors has connected Ambreen and I, and now we want the world to come and enjoy the outdoors with us, or on your own. But just come and enjoy your national parks, enjoy your state parks, enjoy your outdoors that are closest to you, and know that these special places are here for you to enjoy just as much as it is for us. So leave the fears behind, come and enjoy your national parks. That's all I can say. What do you think, Ambreen?
I mean, standing ovation if I could, but I have a little noisemaker here. I apologize for bringing him into the camera, but I live in an apartment, again, very city girl. Whenever someone walks by, he's going to start barking. So I don't want him to interrupt us. So I'm holding him, but I couldn't have said it better myself. And the fear is such a big part of everybody's outdoor experience, right? A little bit of fear is what makes adventure. A lot of fear is what makes anxiety. There's such a fine line to walk there. And with confidence is what changes where that line falls. With community, with family, with the sense of protection from others and in your own skills, and knowing that you're not the only one out there experimenting and being curious, that's what changes where that line falls. And I think the privilege of having been introduced to the outdoors with my family allowed me to not read those same stories, right? I think these type of fear stories that we have in so many cultures, the folklore, if you go out at night with your hair down, I remember that like the witch would get you in the same way, or in the forest, bad things happen at night. These stories have always been created to keep children away from trouble or to keep women away from trouble. That's a different show altogether. We could get into that. But, you know, it's so true you bring that up, because that's the association a lot of kids would have. You've been trained to not go explore wild places, and then all of a sudden, here we are. Be confident. And that's just not how it works. It really does take different ways to introduce different people to the outdoors, kids or adults. I always say that of all the different ways I've tried to camp, whether it was backpacking, whether it's out in the back country, whether it's long distance hiking, short distance hiking, car camping will always be my favorite. It will always be my favorite because it's warm and it's joyful and it's family and it's community and we cook. Car camping is when you bring the coolers and you bring the pots and you bring the pans and you bring the meat and you just cook. You cook up a great meal that no matter what it is, always tastes better when it's cooked over open fire. And so to me, that's joy. And that's my outdoors. It doesn't have to be extreme. It can be one night. It can be me bringing my pillow or me going for 1 week into the wilderness. You know, it's whatever you want it to be and what makes you feel joyful and confident and proud of yourself. So it's so wonderful that we can come together like this and share these stories. And especially for me as a woman, it wasn't until I was an adult who found my outdoor love for the outdoors and outdoor skills that I felt powerful as a woman, and have made other friends who are women outdoor enthusiasts. That makes me so inspired to get outdoors. And through Brown People Camping, I've been able to find and make a community digitally that I couldn't find in person. So all of this is so special for me, and I'm just so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful for the work that rangers like Fatima and so many others are doing to put themselves on the line, to put their stories on the line, and to literally signal that I'm out here and you can be too.
Yeah, I think, both of you have really brought almost the invitation for us to go out and explore. It just feels, it's such a warm invitation from both of you to just have our families go out and explore. And Ambreen, as you know, Fatima and I are in the San Francisco Bay Area. We're in San Francisco right now. And I want to ask Fatima, for the families who might be listening in, where could families go camping in the Bay Area? What national parks in our area would you recommend for families? Because sometimes I feel like it's a trip, and people feel like that's like, it feels like if it's too long, that's a barrier. Are there campsites around us that people might explore?
Oh my goodness, thank you for asking that, because yes, if you are in San Francisco, where I am, I live in the Presidio of San Francisco, your national park site of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. We actually have a campsite right here in the Presidio called Robb Hill. And it's open for families and groups to come and camp out. And if you've never camped, if that's something that's completely brand new to you and you don't have the equipment, like we saw the family in the book, they had a tent, they had all this stuff that they didn't know how to use, but they learned how to use, slowly but surely. Well, if you are in the same situation as the Kazi family was, or even less, that you don't even have any idea of what to buy or what you will need, don't worry. If you are part of a nonprofit organization, there's different organizations here in the Bay Area that serve families. One that we work with all the time has been Carecen and Good Samaritan. I named these because I read the book in Spanish for you all today. And these are organizations that serve Spanish-speaking families that have never camped out. So people like me, when I was the first, a newcomer to this country, if you are part of an organization like that, then tell them to bring you camping to the Presidio, because there's a program for new campers that have never camped out where we provide you the equipment if you are part of a nonprofit organization, a community-based organization here in the Bay Area. But if you already have your equipment, if you're ready to go camping, there are campsites here at Robb Hill that you can reserve through the Presidio Trust, and you can come in as a group. So check it out. Check the Presidio Trust website if you want to come out with your own family group, or inquire with the Parks Conservancy website, where you can find out more about camping at the Presidio for those community group leaders that have desire to bring out their families to their national parks to camp out for the first time. So that's how you can do it. But of course, the Golden Gate National Recreation Area is a very large park. And so right across the Golden Gate Bridge, we have a whole bunch of other park campsites. And my favorite of all is Curvy Cove. So if you've never been camping and you want to do it, Curvy Cove is the place that I've gone camping here in Golden Gate National Recreation Area. And it's just across the Golden Gate Bridge in Marin.
And can I just say, so I didn't get to add how my family even got out there. I said my parents were working several jobs. My mom would be at a grocery store, my dad, fast food joints. And when we had moved to the United States, we were learning how to be American. Like, we were learning what Halloween was. Different friends came in and out of my parents' lives who would teach us, oh, this is what you do on Easter. You get these eggs and then you like paint them. And so we never questioned how weird something was or why we did it. We just did it because we were trying to be American, and my parents wanted us to have the American life. And so in Minnesota in springtime, everybody just went outdoors. They went camping. And so my parents thought that was another American holiday. They thought that's what we do here. And so someone told them, if you go to such and such big box store and you get this thing and you get that thing. So that's literally what they did. They thought, here's Halloween, here's Christmas, here's Easter, here's camping season. That's why we got out there. And to this day, my parents in their community, their South Asian community, back when they lived in California, they're now in New York, they used to go to Yosemite. All the aunties and uncles, they would bring pots about this big, and they would make rice and curry. And all the kids would be like, can't we just camp like everybody else? But now I appreciate that so much. Yeah, we had biryani in the woods, and it was good.
I love that. I think you bring up the point of everyone makes camping their own, right? It looks a little different for everyone depending on who their family is, but it's equally just as fun. And then it's the beautiful memories that you have as you grow up, and about those camping experiences and being outside and learning how not to fear. I totally felt the character who feared the spider, because that's me. That would have been me. There's something outside. I'm not leaving my camp. I'm not leaving my tent. So yeah, I think it's one of those really beautiful things of shared experience. Ambreen, this, as I have mentioned to you before, this presentation is part of actually 2 summer series. We are every week in the summer for Summer Stride, we've been featuring a BIPOC kid lit author or illustrator, someone who is Black, Indigenous, or person of color. And you're part of this series, and I wanted to know how you feel. What do you think about being part of the BIPOC kid lit series?
I'm trying to form the words. I don't think I never imagined I would get into a position of something that would make me feel so honored. When I started Brown People Camping, I just wanted to be part of a BIPOC community. I just wanted to be able to get out there and not feel like I stand out. I wanted to find other men, women, however you identify, folks of color who'd gone through immigration, whatever it was. I wanted to be able to have this beautiful, colorful community out there. That's all I wanted. And now I get to be a part of it in a way where I get to tell my story to kids, and hopefully have kids be able to see themselves in the story. And it's not just about being Indian and Muslim. It was really important to me to write a story that was just normative. I'm not trying to teach you about my religion. I'm not trying to teach you what India is like, or, you notice that we don't even define the words that we use in this book. This was a very specific decision the publishers were very proud of, is this is how Fatima's life unfolds. Nobody stops and defines the word, and it's a moment in somebody's life. But in the type of United States we are now living in, this is my neighbor. This is the kid I sat next to in school. Like, this is my culture. And I am so proud. I am so, so, so honored and blessed to be in this position. Like, I have goosebumps right now. If you could zoom in, if I had a good camera. Like, to say that, I feel super, super honored. And there's always that imposter syndrome. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm just like, I don't know if I should be here, but I am
Totally should be here.
I am more than grateful to be here. For me to be in a moment where I connect with someone like Fatima, for us to be able to be on camera and share stories and connect. And then there's a kid somewhere who is seeing herself or himself or themselves in us. I never had that as a kid, so I don't know what it feels like for that kid, but I hope it's pretty cool, because that's all we're trying to do. Have a world where kids grow up where they don't question themselves as being outsiders, and have the confidence to explore and be curious and learn to love nature, so that you will have 100% confidence to defend nature. So I am more than honored to be able to be a part of this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for saying yes, and for being willing to be part of the series. And Fatima, similar question. You have been one of our Nature Boost pioneers. When we started this idea last year in summer, as we were in virtual, how does it feel being part of the Nature Boost series, and how, what is your goal, and how do you feel about it?
No, I really appreciate being part of the public library family. That's how I feel, because you all help me complete my mission. And as I said, my goal in this career that I chose was to bring people like me outdoors, to help them feel welcome, to help them feel that they belong, to help them feel safe, to help them feel empowered in the outdoors, in nature. And why? Because this place belongs to us, and we belong in it. And I am so happy to be part of Nature Boost, and to be part of the this collaboration that we have with the San Francisco Public Libraries, because without your help, I wouldn't be able to be in everyone's home right now, or in their cell phone right now, or on their laptop somewhere in the world, and even before we were doing this virtually, I was going into the libraries, every summer. And then we started bringing everybody out, in shuttle buses out to their national parks, which I hope that we will be able to do again in the future, yep, cross our fingers. But like, to be able to physically bring our people outdoors, to bring them to these special places that belong to them, has been just such a reward, such a mission accomplished feeling for me. I love my job. I love what I do. And every single time that I see a smile on someone's face, whether they are, a newborn baby in the stroller, or they are a grandma, grandpa, and they're telling me that they had never been to that site before, and wow, they didn't know this about that plant or about that animal. It's just been so beautiful. It just makes me want to cry that I'm doing it, I'm doing what I set out to do. It warms my heart. And so to be able to partner today, not just with the San Francisco Public Libraries, but also with an author that has the same love and mission and desire to bring the outdoors to people, of all parts of the world. It's just so beautiful. I just feel so blessed and happy, and just empowered to move forward and continue on this path and this mission, because it's so rewarding. And who knows, maybe we will be inspiring the new generations, as Ambreen already said.
I think you both will. Ambreen, we got a question in the chat. They wanted to know what's your doggy's name, because they are predominantly right now in the screen.
This is Bear.
Oh, hi, Bear. Bear,
He's
what a perfect
adorable.
name for speaking about going out to the parks. Such a perfect
And,
name.
and
He's the bear that you want to see.
we call this Bear Country.
Ah,
We all better watch out. But he's 2 years
oh,
old and he's adopted from the Prince George's County shelter last year, pre-COVID.
ah. So, well, I'm so glad he made an appearance. Ambreen, I'm just going to share with you that someone says, they wish that they had books, like they had your book in particular when they were growing up. And for Fatima, you embody the American dream that I always thought what the American dream is. And yes, I feel like you both really, really are part of that. And it's what makes you are the American experience. We are all this experience. We're all bring it differently, and just so honored to share this moment with you both. Thank you so much. Um, any last words you want to put out there before we close today?
I will say that is such a special thing to hear. And I'm not going to speak for Fatima, but I'm sure she'll agree with me when I say that talking about the American dream and what it means to be American is a really emotional thing for me as an immigrant, right? And doing the work that I do, I know what that means to the large group of people in this country. My family worked really hard to get here, and there are groups of people in this country who were here and whose land was taken away, or who were forced to come here and work this land. And so I know some of the greatest patriots I meet are immigrants, because we've had to work so hard to come here, get in, prove ourselves over and over again. But I also deeply, deeply appreciate BIPOC folks whose relationship to land is difficult and complicated in other ways, and their pride in what it means to enjoy and access land is also very special in their own context. So it's really important for me to keep working to learn those stories and learn how to be a good ally while I celebrate my privilege to access and enjoy this land.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, for me, I just want to remind everybody that is with us today, to share this knowledge that you've heard from us today, that these places belong to you, whether it's a national park, state park, local city park. These places are made for you to enjoy. It doesn't matter where you were born, especially if you're in a national park. National parks are for everyone. You don't have to be born in the United States to enjoy these special places. These special places are here for you. Just like they're here for me, they're here for you. And I want you to know that you belong here. They belong to you and you belong here. So please come out and enjoy your national parks, okay? And I pray that soon I will be out there with you all again, bringing you out to your special places, telling you the stories that I have learned through the years. And I hope that you will share those stories with everyone you know and love, so that they feel confident and, empowered to come outdoors too.
Well, thank you both. And there you heard, folks who are still tuning in the YouTube, please go out and explore. You have a very cordial invitation from both Ambreen and Fatima and the parks and the library to go out and explore your national parks and local parks, and take your family out there with you and have fun, have a great time. Thank you both. Thank you to both our presenters for being here today with us. I invite the audience to come back again on Friday, where we will be having a special workshop with Kaylani, Juanita, and Lisa Brown. Kaylani Juanita is our featured Summer Stride artist. Some of you may have seen the art behind me, and also during our Summer Stride program, you have probably seen it throughout our city. And if you would like to join the Summer Stride program, please join and find information at www.sfpl.org, where you will find information on how to join Summer Stride, how to do your 20 hours and get your prize tote so that you can put your books in and maybe take those books camping. Who knows? It's a great place to read when you're out in the great outdoors. And next Friday, join us again for our nature boost, which is Recreate Responsibly, which will feature our very own Fatima Colindres, who will be teaching us more about how to recreate responsibly, and she will be bringing along some of her special ranger guest friends as well to tell us information about how to continue recreating in our parks. Thank you again, everyone, for being here and tuning in. We look forward to seeing you not only online during our virtual programming, but also at our library locations, which are all open and opening up soon, and many of which are open already for service. So please join us there, check out some books, and come, you know, we're so happy to be here for you all. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a good day.